people want depth.
Mm-hmm.
They want depth.
That's really why a lot of people just are drawn to people right now. I think this next year is going to be even bigger for that. They want to buy your permission, your energy, and your confidence.
Yeah.
Like anything muted is going to be tough because we've had plenty of that.
Especially on social media. I think we were okay for a while having social media be surface level because it was just easy to scroll and just be like, oh, this is so nice. I want this life. And now people are like, no, I don't want just the highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
I want the depth.
Becca, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you on. And we also have another little co-host with us.
Oh, I thought she was the main star.
You know what?
I
She
thought
is
I
the
was
main-
her co-host today.
Exactly.
This is
It's actually, okay, so Goldie's with us.
This
It's a
is
mini
Goldie.
Golden doodle?
toy poodle.
Toy
Poodle. She's full grown.
Full diva.
Yeah, full diva.
Oh my
100%.
gosh.
She runs my life. I'm
But she
just
got a
living in
bad
it.
poodle cut and the internet named her.
She did.
Barb?
It literally got 20 million views. It was just a video because my husband took her to get it cut, which he since has been revoked.
Oh, yeah.
All rights, right? I learned the hard
They
way.
don't know how to give the right directions.
No. And he asked, like explicitly asked actually for what happened. I learned. I was like, when in your life did you come up with this in your brain? You're like, tied around the feet, tied around the nose, poodle cut. I'm like, what? So it was so bad. It got 20 million views.
And they named her Barb.
And the internet labeled her Barb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But she's now,
So she's now fully
she's back to Goldie. She's
Ugh.
the puppy that we love.
Does she have a voice? Does she have like a...
She does.
Okay.
But no one else can hear it but me.
Okay, got it.
You know,
Got it,
it's
got
one
it.
of those things
Okay.
where we like chat.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
constantly.
it was like, hey, Mom.
Definitely higher pitch. Like, hi, mommy. I don't know.
If you don't have a dog right now, you hate me. If you do have a dog, you know your dog has a voice. So there
Of
you go.
course. Yeah. And it'll change too.
Oh, all right. Well, now that we have good dog energy in the room as well, this podcast is going to go great. I'm really excited to chat with you because you are obsessed with a freedom life, like having a life of freedom. And I also love learning about your background. My husband and I and your husband and you all got to go out to dinner, and we've known you for a little bit also. And it's so fun learning about the way that you grow up and how that's impacted your life. And I feel like some of the most interesting people who do the most incredible things come from a background that is very unique or very challenged, or a lot of challenges that it's forced you to become the person that you are. So we're going to dig into that. But I want to know, what is it about a freedom lifestyle that has always been like very important to you, and why?
Well, I think the baseline of it is the freedom to live and to experience. Oh, Goldie. is to experience life the way that you want. And we all desire life to be different. Like what freedom looks like to me will look different to you versus Chris versus my husband, right? And I think it's about, especially as you become an entrepreneur and you build a business, it's like truly creating your life to be what you want. And when you wake up, what makes you feel free? What makes you feel like you are prioritizing yourself and is going to actually give you that true meaning of like, I did this for me. I built this life. I designed this life for me. And that was something that was always so important to me. And truly, like, I every day have to kind of check back in, and I'm like, okay, what does this actually look like? What does this life of freedom actually look like? Because it's also easy to kind of, go off track and be like, oh, this person's doing this. Oh, I should do this. And then you come back and you're like, wait, that's like sacrificing myself and what I want out of life. So that's always been like my number one priority.
Tell me a little bit about the check-ins for people who are like, God, I haven't even let myself think of freedom necessarily. What would that look like for them? Like, how could they go through a little bit of an exercise, or do you have one that you do for yourself?
Well, I always ask myself, how do I want to feel when I wake up? So I always struggled in school, genuinely, because I had to wake up to an alarm clock. I feel like I am genuinely allergic to an alarm clock. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like if I have an alarm clock set, even if I set it to 11 o'clock in the morning, it's like I just can't sleep all night. I'm tossing and turning, right? Like even this morning, I set it to 8 in the morning. I always wake up at 8, but I knew that I had to wake up at 8. So I set the alarm. 2 a.m, I'm tossing and turning. So I rolled over, turned off my alarm, and I went to sleep. And then I woke up at 8. Right. And it's like, I know that my body, for some reason, it's like the expectation, the pressure that I know I have an alarm clock. I know I have a deadline. It just never worked. So I ended up dropping out of school because I literally couldn't manage going to school because I was having so much anxiety. So I learned that about myself. And it was like, okay, how do I actually want to feel when I wake up? I want to feel like I don't have pressure on me. I want to feel that. Like, we know what it feels like to have pressure versus not, right? It's like the difference of a Sunday morning versus you have an early flight in the morning. It's like that, you know what that feels like in your body. So I think it's creating the consistency of like, how do you want to feel every morning, right? That's like the first start.
It's so crazy about like, even just listening to, I get to chat with so many people, and it's like, some people might be like, whoa, that is a crazy thing to have, like that's like an actual allergy to literally an alarm. Like, whoa, that is like really intense. But now knowing you, it's literally forced you into creating everything that you do. So like if you listen, your body and your life will speak to you on what you should be doing and what you should be creating. And now we all get to benefit from that because we get to learn how to create freedom in our life due to what you're doing. So I want you to take me back to your childhood. What about the way that you grew up like most influence how you live and work now, besides the alarm clock?
Well, if you think the alarm clock allergy is weird, I was born on a hippie commune. So that is definitely the most unusual thing about me. I was born on a hippie commune, and I actually think that truly dictated like the rest of my life, like how I perceive normal life, because that was so untraditional and not normal. But honestly, in the best way, because what happened was a bunch of 18-year-old kids on, Grateful Dead tour ended up landing themselves on a hippie commune in Northern California, basically just to say like, fuck society rules, fuck the government. I can curse, right? We're all good here. Okay.
Please do it more.
And it's like, they truly said, okay, whatever you guys are telling these people that they have to live like this. They have to get a normal job. They have to get a 9 to 5. They have to have all these rules, right, to life. And you have to buy the house. And it's just like, so what we're all ingrained with. My parents literally said, no, we're not doing that. And they basically raised me on a hippie commune, and everything was against the grain. So it makes sense that I am completely like, how can I do this differently? If you tell me, oh, it's like this, I'm going to say, no, I don't think so. We're going to do it this way. If you say no, I say yes. If you say yes, I say no. And that's truly because of this just concept that you can create your life and you don't have to do it how society tells you to.
I think when we were chatting, that was one thing that obviously when you come from different childhoods, then what is the societal norm? Like, I feel like there's a bonding there. I was just like, oh my God, I so get that, how that can impact your life, your relationships, how you look at work, all of the things, because the way that you think is not like how other people are thinking. And it does change how you view everything, relationships, friendships, perspective on everything. How is that impacted, before we move forward? Like, how has that impacted like your actual relationships? Like even friendships, because like that's a different way to grow up.
It is. I would say it my husband oddly had a very similar upbringing, which is, I think, our biggest blessing that we found each other, honestly, totally. Because now I have so many friends that are married and I hear about how different their upbringings were. And I'm like, I can't relate. It's as if my husband and I were growing up the same, but parallel. Like, it just is bizarre.
Like a commune across the way.
Exactly. So we relate to each other so extremely. I would say it makes me have a hard time and challenging time connecting with people who don't have backgrounds that really shift their views. Like, anyone who maybe has grown up just like very like normal, what I mean? Like,
do know what you mean.
It's like very like, maybe you grew up in an environment where you were sheltered and it's just like very traditional. I have a hard time relating to that. So I definitely, attract people that are kind of against the grain. And then I also think that relationships, like when you show up as your most authentic self, you inspire people and you expand people. And that's definitely how I have seen my path, is like, I could have dimmed it down and been like, no, this is weird. I want to fit in. But that wouldn't have been my authentic self. And now I truly get to just show people like, no, who are you? What's your mess? What's your weird? Like, let's showcase it.
Yeah.
And now that's my whole life. Like literally social media is like the biggest expander for that.
You know, I think such a, like a gift of the way that you grew up. Like when we were chatting, I think like, can we dig into your story?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You know, being around like having parents who did drugs or having that be a normal thing, like a normal occurrence.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
is bizarre. But at the same time, it's like, it's normalized things for you that maybe to some people are like, ooh, that's taboo, or look at that. Where if you take that lesson, like I see different things that you're doing just in life and in business, and you're like, no, there's no taboo in my life. So you've actually taken some things, you know, you're able to take like these things in the world that maybe people aren't saying, talking about, maybe they don't have the confidence to be online or be bold or do the things. And you're kind of like, you're like, this was normal to me. So like all of these other things don't feel as big or as challenging or as like, oh, that's crazy, or, oh, you shouldn't do that. Or there's so many of these rules that actually restrict us from being authentic. Yeah. And I think a lot of the reason why your business has been so successful just from outside perspective is because you've been able to roll out into the world pretty damn authentic from the start. Cause you're like, yo, this is what I came from. And it's a really great, like, testament to some people who have this story could be like ashamed of it or, oh, I'm a weirdo, or who knows? I come from a very religious background. And it's like, the more I embraced it, the more I watched people really come to me. What's been a gift for you of sharing that? Like, what's been something that has become a strength because of it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, literally everything. Not only has it been incredibly healing, even like for myself and my relationships and even my relationships with my parents, like I'll share everything and I'll talk about it. I'm an open book. But I think, like you said, I'll share the most extreme as if it's literally nothing to then normalize maybe what other people are feeling. Like, it's like, this is like eating you inside. I'm like, no, like, let's just like, it's so easy for us to make these things so massive. Yeah, totally. And be like, oh, it's this big, I can't share this side of me. And it's like, no, like odds are other people are experiencing this. Totally. Like a lot of people, right? And I think honestly, the feeling of shame is the killer of all dreams.
I couldn't agree more.
And I have always seen that firsthand in just people that are close to me. I'm like, I recognize what is holding them back, and it's shame. Mm-hmm. And I was never going to let that hold me back, let alone my own story. Mm-hmm. And I'll have people online police me for my story. I'll have family police me for my story and be like, that's not how it went. That's not what I remember. You know, and I'm like, well, this is my story. This is my truth. And it's helping me. It's helping my business. It's helping my family. And it's going to help, you know, people that are inspired by it.
I actually think that's really huge. That's a topic I would love to even just, oh my God, go into more even on my podcast. Cause you're absolutely right. Where it's like a lot of people aren't sharing their story for fear of like, oh, but my sister said that's not what she remembers. And you're like, no, but that's what I remember. Yeah. And that's how it impacted me. Exactly. And that's, you know, that's what, like, this is like the biggest storyline of my life. And if I don't share it, I can't actually tell you where I'm even coming from or why I feel this way.
Exactly. Well, and people don't know how something impacts you, especially because it's really easy to mask. Like, I am an excellent masker. I could be going through the craziest shit and you will never know. Yeah. And so then if in 10 years I maybe, you know, live out that experience and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to talk about it. No one else can say, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't go down like that. I'm like, because you didn't know actually what was going down. Right. And we constantly are doing that where it's like your truth, your story is only yours to tell. Yeah. And if someone has anything to say about it, like I mean, they can hit the unfollow. They can scroll. Yeah. And I'll literally tell people that. I'm like, you are free to scroll.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you root into that, because I really struggled with this actually, because it involved people. It involved people who were still in that religion and still swear by that religion and still think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And I'm like, that was the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me. And so it was this dance of like, how do I roll out with these people who are still in my life where I had massive traumatizing experiences, tell the story while it's hard to tell a story while trying to protect people. Now, I've learned, and I can imagine even with your family or parents, like you don't want people to be like, oh, your parents were bad or they did all these drugs or were you neglected? It's like, no, you learn you have to kind of learn how to tell the story in a way that works with all parties. And I'll just tell you right now, it's not going to work for everyone.
Yeah.
I had some people it did not work well with. And I
Yeah.
had to just be like, do you want to do the rest of your life like very inauthentically and be like, yeah, you know, let me tell you why friendships are important to me, but I'm not going to tell you the real reason why. Or why I know that pivoting and leaving something that your family is doing is super hard, but I'm not going to tell you the real reason why.
Yeah.
Like nobody listens to you unless you can be in their shoes. So I love that you are permission. And I also love like your confidence and your courage around that. And I think that's really why a lot of people just are drawn to people right now. I think this next year is going to be even bigger for that.
I agree.
Like for permission, they want to buy your permission, your energy, and your confidence.
Yeah.
Like anything muted is going to be tough because we've had plenty of that, you know?
100%. And people want depth. They want depth. It's
They
like
do.
we all have met friends in our adulthood where you go and, you know, you could have two different dinners where one, it's incredibly surface level. And you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, that was fun. Maybe see you another time, right? And then another
But hopefully not.
dinner where you sit down. Yeah, right. You're like, okay, actually, like, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy. And then you have another dinner where you just talk about everything. You open up, you talk about your childhood, your traumas, your experience. And it's just like you completely open yourself up. And that is the depth of like the human connection that I think everyone is craving.
Same.
And especially on social media. I think we were okay for a while having social media be surface level because it was just easy to scroll and just be like, oh, this is so nice. I want this life. And now people are like, no, I don't want just the highlight reel. I want the depth.
Yeah.
I want that human connection because most people's connections now are on social media.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know,
Yeah,
but it is,
so
it's
true.
like, we're spending more time there. So now we are craving more depth and human connection. And it requires leaders to show the entirety of them. And of course, you can have some things that are just, you know, for you.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, it takes discernment. But the most you can just open up and be vulnerable with your audience,
Yeah.
it truly is like life-changing on so many levels.
Yeah, let's talk about that discernment really quick. I definitely keep some stuff to myself that I'm like, no, I don't need that stress in my life. If I want to open that up. So for me, I think I look at it like, okay, I can't tell my story or shift people or transform them if I don't share this. Like that's kind of how I decide on what the lens is. And I'm like, can I still do the thing out in the world? Can I still attract the right people? Can I still create the transformation that I want? Can I still feel fully authentically me? And then if I can't do those things, then I'm like, okay, I think I have to tell this story. Like I think I do. And if I don't have to, then I'm like, no, that's just for me. That doesn't matter. They don't need to know about that. Maybe that's something for later. Maybe it's something for never. How do you kind of discern where in the story? Because I know a lot of people ask that all the time. Like, when do I tell it? Do I tell it when I'm in it? Do I have to share everything?
I mean, I think that I've had the worst on social media. I mean, I've literally had death threats.
Yeah, you've gone through a lot.
I have a nervous system check of what is the worst that could happen with this. Like, does this story involve other people? So if they find out, what's the worst? Could that ruin a relationship? Could it just have comments? Could it have mean comments about X, Y, and Z? I try and play out actually so that I can physically start to feel what would it be like if like the worst happened?
Yeah.
And if it truly is like, oh my, I like start to panic and I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm not ready to share this story, then I won't.
Yeah.
But because it has to feel safe. Because the last thing that you want is for you to share something that is vulnerable. You then go into this full like overdrive, just bodies panic mode, because then you're going to tell yourself in the future that you're never safe to tell your story.
Yeah.
So I think that's the discernment of like, play out the worst case scenario. And a lot of the time when you play it out, you start to realize actually, oh, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, that's actually probably not likely that will happen. So I am safe to tell this story.
Yeah. You're also, I feel like you're good with taking some negative comments though. So what about the people who are like just going to start getting out there and anything negative feels bad?
Get comfortable.
Buck up.
Yeah. Like just
buck up, Sally.
Toughen up a little bit. Yeah. I think if being completely honest, you will hold yourself back from growth and connection if you are afraid of what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
And always just tiptoeing around any possibility of negative comments, because we all have controversial beliefs. We all have like, what do you feel like is like the enemy in life, right? Like, what are you fighting up against? And that is what you should be sharing. And because of that, people will agree and people won't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you repel people, the more you attract your people. So I actually think that it's this like really beautiful synergy where it's like, there are times where I'll protect myself and I'm like, wow, I haven't had any hate. And I'm like, I'm not sharing my voice enough.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm like,
I feel that, yeah.
actually sharing and standing up for what I believe in
Mm-hmm.
and what people want to hear. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I need some courage. And it takes courage.
It really does.
But it's like it's a ladder, right? You take one step, post one video, and then you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're going to just every single day just start posting all things and all going to just be hate. It's like it's a ladder, and then you'll get there. And the more and more you realize that, yes, maybe sometimes there's negative, there's also a lot of positive.
Totally.
That's, cancel culture even in its whole, like how many people get canceled and then they, rise up with like their audience, whether you agree with the cancellation or not. It's like, they always end up aligning with their people.
Yeah.
And that is just the biggest testament of that, like your people are out there, whether, think it or not.
I've watched people get canceled and it's been the best thing that's ever happened because it's gotten them so clear and just even more in their stance. And it's like, I really do believe, just to like make anyone listening to this feel better who's afraid of that. I don't believe you can get canceled unless you agree to it. Meaning like, unless you're like, okay, yep. Yeah, I'm not sure. Or yeah, I apologize for that. Even if you don't apologize for it. Like, and if you agree to being like, yes, I was wrong and you don't believe you're wrong, that's where people get canceled because now you're not in your truth and it's just like totally mixed. You don't know what to do. So you disappear.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just feel like, oh God, if you're going to say it, you got to like,
say it with your gut.
You got to know it's a hill you want to die on and just be willing to die on that hill. And honestly, it's probably half the population who feels the same.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much how it is. It's just
totally
split like 50-50. You're going to get 50% hate, 50% absolute love, but you're just going to rise up in the group that loves you. And, to anyone listening who's like freaked out by this, you don't have to be this extreme, but I do think you're going to have an opinion on things in order to be seen and to get your message out there. So for you, there was like a long stretch where you didn't have clarity on what you wanted to do. It sounds like on what you wanted to be, but you kept moving instead of settling. What did that look like?
Yeah, it's like messy action over no action always. I was willing to try anything. And so even to give some context. So I was a waitress, 2018. Okay. 2018, I was still Miss Party Girl, staying up until 8 a.m, doing things that, I don't do anymore.
Okay.
No shame for anyone that, but not for me.
I was right there with you, but quite a few years earlier.
It was a fun ride and also incredibly lost. I remember the feeling of waking up every day, not feeling like I have freedom or fulfillment and being like, fuck, I'm so hungover. I'm so broke. I'm so lost. I have no direction. And now I have to get up and put my stinky freaking clothes on because I'm selling freaking tacos and I'm like relying on tips. What is this? Like, is this really life? And so my boss ended up spitting in my face in 2018.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. And I left the restaurant that day saying, I will never have a boss again. I will never have a boss again, and I will never feel degraded like this and feel like then I have to go back and just put a smile on my face. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So I quit. And there was a period where I was like, okay, I need to figure out something. And I have always wanted to travel. I've always wanted to have the freedom and flexibility. So I was like, what better time is now? I'm already broke. I already have credit card debt. What's going to be the worst case scenario? I don't really have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Let me just try. So I tried everything. I tried virtual assisting. I tried photography. I bought a camera on Amazon and I was like, I'm going to be a photographer. And then I ended up,
I couldn't
figure out how to work the camera. And I'm like, fuck, okay,
Same.
no. And also then playing out the scenarios of what are all these things actually going to do for my life? Being a photographer, you're on your feet. What are you working towards? Working at 8-hour weddings, That's draining. You're going to be on your feet literally all day. And then you have to go back and edit and you have the demand of clients. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. So I tried all these things and I had lack of clarity of what I was going to do, but I had full clarity of what I wanted and who I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. That was my like North Star. That was my driving force. And it then made web design fall in my lap. So it truly was like, I was open to any opportunity. I was like, just give it to me. I'll say yes. Right. And web design fell in my lap and it was within 6 months. And I truly felt, I was like, this just like checks all my boxes, everything that I desire and what I want in life, and just having the true freedom and fulfillment. That was another thing that I was chasing. And I feel like entrepreneurship is interesting because a lot of people end up wanting to be an entrepreneur because they want to feel valued and fulfilled in what they're doing and creative. But then I see sometimes people go on paths that like actually don't allow them to.
Oh God, all the time.
Right.
Oh,
and
I've
it's
been
like,
down so many.
No,
where I'm like,
it's like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
How did you get yourself out of a situation like that?
This is such a good question. I talk about the importance of sleep and reaching your goals all the time on this podcast, but I also know that you're probably wound pretty tight like I am, and you might have trouble transitioning from your daytime to your nighttime. So I added something that I absolutely love because, you know, skincare is a big thing for me in 2026, and I love Osea's Dream Collection. It's really helped change that for me. Osea's Dream Night Serum and Dream Night Cream are clinically tested formulas powered by bioretinol and designed to reduce the visible effects of stress on your skin while you sleep. You guys know that I am all about making the things you're already doing work for you. So why not make this work for you in your sleep? So I love this because it really helps me wind down, not only because of this beautiful scent and how it feels on my skin, but I'm really loving that it's something that supports my nighttime ritual while I sleep, and it helps me settle in for the night because my skin feels so good. And again, it's got that nice lavender scent that I always associate to nighttime sleep, because skincare truly is self-care, you guys. So Osea's newest product in the Dream collection is the Dream Bioretinol Body Serum. And let me tell you, skincare for me this year is not just about my face, it's about my whole body. So you should make this a key part of your personal body care routine, just like I am. And I think you're going to fall in love with it. So it's a full body restorative treatment that visibly de-stresses the skin with a holistic blend of bioretinol, red seaweed, magnesium, and lavender. I think the second that you put it on, you're going to feel the difference just like I did. And you're going to see the difference. I mean, talk about looking like glass skin. I literally put it on and actually feel like I want to go somewhere because my skin looks so plump and hydrated and youthful. So you guys, give your skin a rest with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code EARN at OseaMalibu.com. And trust me, you're going to love this so much. You're going to want to buy one for your friends. When you're growing a company, you know that you need good people around you in order to get to the next level. And right now there's a talented person out there who could take your company to the place that you want. But the question is, do you want to just hope that they see your job posts before your competitors, or do you want to match with them using Indeed sponsored jobs? If I had to hire someone for the show tomorrow, I wouldn't mess around with candidates who look decent on paper but don't even get what I do. I'd want somebody who already has worked in podcasting and editing and software and understands workflow and can jump in and not only do the job well, but help take us to where we want to go. That's why I use Indeed sponsored jobs. They help you find people who actually fit what you're looking for. Stop struggling to get your job post even seen on other sites. With sponsored jobs, your post is boosted to reach quality candidates, the kind of people who can help your business thrive and drive the results that you need. And the best part is you only pay for results. In fact, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 95% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So if you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. And I like those stats. So spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results now with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. For anyone that doesn't know me, I have started a lot of businesses, and I will tell you that every single one came with so many worries and so many fears. It can be really terrifying because there are so many questions that you don't have the answer to. What if no one listens to my podcast? What if nobody buys my products? And I am so grateful that I have started all of them, especially Glossy, and that I believed in the launch of my products, because despite all the fears and hesitations, it also helps when you have a partner like Shopify on your side. And Shopify is what I use for Glossy. So you can get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand's style. Accelerate your efficiency, whether you're uploading new products or trying to improve existing ones. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. And what if I get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer service. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy. That's shopify.com/happy. I've pivoted so many times into thinking that maybe this thing would be the next freedom thing. I think you have to think differently because, you know, entrepreneurship, you're doing a lot yourself, or that's how I used to be. And now I'm looking at it as like, who's got the skill set to do that so that I can get back in my zone of genius? So whether it's been a thing where maybe I feel like I can't get out, like honestly, with my product company, I feel like, oh, wow, did I create a life of non-freedom right now? But the same mindset that has gotten me out of other challenging spaces is getting me out of this, not meaning the company, but out of the challenge that I'm in, meaning, you know, I'm doing a lot of the things right now. And what we're working on is, okay, well, how do we either create more money, fundraise, get better talent? Who has a skill set that this would work so much better on? Is there something that we could trade? Is there something? So it's kind of been the same in all the businesses. You have to think differently. You have to think with freedom, but what freedom means to you. And freedom doesn't mean to not work for me, or like for you, like I don't mind an alarm clock. But what it does mean is I want the freedom to be in my skill set every day, like in the creative part. I would love to have creative things on my plate every single day to do.
I love that because it feels good.
Feels
and
so
it's
good.
Exciting. It
I want to
feels
wake
like
up
you're
to
like
it
in your zone.
Yep.
Well, that's exactly how I felt when I found web design. I remember sitting there and I always felt like any job I did, I had a really strong work ethic. While yes, I don't want to wake up to an alarm clock. That's also incredibly privileged. And I know that, right? Like I get to say that now.
We want that as your
right.
Yes.
Like that's where I am now.
Yep.
But I lived a life where I did have an alarm clock and I had to do that. And I worked a lot of different things that I was in survival mode to make money always, because I grew up with such lack, like incredible, full scarcity.
That goes
all
deep.
the time.
Yes.
Sometimes not knowing where food is going, just like constant feeling of what
like
are we going to survive?
Safe. Like
nothing is safe.
Yeah.
Nothing is safe. And the projection also onto a small child, you know, from like adults, it really is a lot. And I've had to do a lot of work to just redefine what money is and what it means to me from the way that I grew up. And so I worked for money, and I first started my business because I needed money. And I think that's very relatable. And some people will kind of tiptoe around that, being like, no, I'm becoming an entrepreneur. I'm starting a business because I need money, because it's like shameful, or we don't want to accept or admit that we just are doing something out of money.
Yeah.
But when you come from a place of just such lack of and scarcity, there's no shame in it. Like you gotta eat, you gotta get your bread, right?
Yeah.
But then what happens is, like, once you get to a security blanket, which there's many different levels. For me, it was literally 5K. When I got to 5K a month in my web design business, I was like, damn, this is like the safest I've ever felt with money. What do I really want in life now? What do I actually really want? And then I was able to really go, okay, what does this actually look like? What does the impact of this look like? What does the fulfillment of this look like? I want to be creative. I like all those things. And when I tapped into that, then literally my income just like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Because of alignment of like what you truly want.
Oh my gosh. There's, you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you heard of that? Okay. So it is Like this was totally me. I resonate with you so much. It's crazy because my parents went bankrupt. We were always they were borrowing money from me as a teenager. I worked at a coffee shop. And then when I was 18 and I moved out, we'd trade the same $100 fucking bill back and forth. I swear to God, it was just like, we need it this month. We need it this month. And it was like constantly never had money. And it was like, who's getting kicked out? Are you going to be able to stay in your, like,
That's was so intense.
It was insane. So I couldn't even think about like if someone asked me what my dream was, I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like that is like not even on the radar. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs starts at the bottom. You have to have like your needs, like your initial safety needs met. Food, shelter, like you have to have a sense of security. Your brain won't even like flip on to the other things until that has a good baseline. So for anybody listening who's like, whoa, I don't even know what that is yet. It is more than okay to be like, you know what? I just want to like be able to afford like some cottage cheese. Yeah. Like that was, I remember standing in line because I had started in fitness because that was going to be the dream that was going to get me out. And I was like, can we afford the good cottage cheese? Like I need to buy this.
I don't want this cheap shit.
And all I could think about is like all these people were like, what's your why? Tell me like what's the big vision? I was like, the fucking big vision is to not feel like to be able to spend money and pay for things and like have my needs met. So it's so interesting that
so good.
And mine was like that $5,000 point too, where I was like, now what do I want? Like the world opened up to me. So it's like a ladder. It's a ladder.
I actually think on complete different side note, but I'm seeing even in marketing, and I'm curious if you have seen this in content specifically, because there's a wealth gap, obviously. And I think right now there is such a mass volume of people who are getting laid off and don't even have their basic needs being met. Food, shelter, they're just the biggest volume of just true insecurity of their needs being met. And I think I have played around with, because obviously my life, and I dim it down even on social media sometimes because I'm like, I don't want to come across like this. But sometimes I'll share the house, the car, the lifestyle. And I have noticed more in the last year that it's being met because I do help people, leave their 9 to 5 or get out of that to then grow. It's like, that's my audience. And they don't want to see the flashy because they can't see it for themselves yet. Because they're like, I literally just want to buy groceries. Or I want to buy organic groceries. I just need to feel safe. So then it's like, I've noticed that the content that is more on the flashy side, which we always see on Instagram, it does not work. And so it's also having discernment of who your audience is when you're talking to them and if what you're sharing might actually be too much, because if they're in that first little bracket and they're just trying to get there, they're going to see it and they're like, I can't even relate. Yeah. That's not relatable in any way.
I think it's like an assessment of audience. I also think there could be some age demographic in there as well. I'm noticing, it's funny. It's like, I feel like there is a bit of like, the more that I actually speak to making money, I'm getting more of the people who really want to do that, but I am getting the other people falling off for sure.
And that's exactly like, you're going to repel and you're going to attract,
totally,
which is great.
Totally.
And that's your people.
Right.
Which
and
I know because I've been in the room with your people.
Yeah.
And they definitely are like, most of your people are like beyond that. They're like, okay, I want to get what you have.
Yeah. And I think that can scare some people though, because I much like you, when you come from somewhere like you came from, like from a tiny town too, and like a very strict religion, I had like 2 friends. I wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone. Like, you never lose that. But if you want to continue on and keep growing, I can't talk to those people. I can't include them in everything because if we include everyone, you literally do speak to no one. So, something that you do really well is you speak to your transformation story all the time. I'm learning that from you, which is great. Like, you really are great at showing a before and an after. That's a great way to kind of be inclusive without saying, hey, you down here, let's try to get you from 0 to here fast, but your mindset's not even there and you're not going to like what I have to say. So I think that invites people. I think you're really good at inviting people. So that's good. That's something that I've learned from you. So tell me, at what point did sharing your life and ideas publicly stop feeling casual, but start feeling like very powerful in the thing? Like your voice became the business.
When you see the impact and you feel the impact of what you just said, like the transformation. I have had an insane A to Z transformation, and I'm still
Same.
I'm not done yet. I'm 28 years old. Like, hopefully I got a lot to go. But with where I am right now, it's actually crazy to look back. And so I do share a lot of those videos where it's like, I'll show a photo of where I was born on a hippie commune, or the house that I grew up in that had like black mold on the ceiling and the walls were caving in.
Yeah.
It was like so different than my viral castle that I'm renovating. And it's like wild. But when I share that, it's like, I will share then everything in between. So I have the formula that I taught you where it's like you share where you started and where you are now. One photo to where you are now, one video to where you are now. And then you can fill in the context, and you have so many different little mini stories within there. And you can then bring people along so that then you do hit everyone. Like when you said it's inclusive, it's like not everyone's going to relate to how I grew up to where I am now, but then people will relate to when I was 16 and a high school dropout to where then when I made 10K as a web designer, people will relate to this. So you can then find and play with like your little mini stories and bring people along. But what you see is that you will then just have so many people in your audience who are just inspired by your story. And when people are inspired by their story, they can relate to themselves, they can see themselves doing it. And so when I see someone from a video take action and go, I'm doing this, I'm whatever it is that they're going to do. And then in 3 months they respond and they're like, hey, I found you on TikTok from this video. And I literally just quit my job. I just bought a house with my husband. I just made my blank first month, and it's like that. I'm like, I will literally do this every day until I die. Not even if there was no money attached to it for me, because of how powerful it is to see other people change their life through you just sharing your life.
So your sort of top of funnel is you doing that. Like, you're like, I'm going to share these transformation stories. You're so good at them. By the way, every time I do it now, it does amazing. Every single time. So I'm so grateful.
Okay, so everyone listening, go steal the formula.
It really is so good. It's like, duh. When I'm like, what do I need to post? I'm like, okay, what's a starting point? What's an ending point? It can be 15 years. It could be 5 years. It could be a 3-year transformation. Like, you have so many in there. You just go through your phone and you take a picture from this year to this year. And I'm like, tell the story of what was happening in that timeline. So like, it sounds so simple, but it also was like, duh, this is amazing. And it works so well.
It's so easy. And it's so easy to repeat. I think that's a thing for me is I create 2 to 3 pieces of content every single day. And I have for 8 years. So like, that's a lot of content.
That's a lot.
So you have to figure out, how can I streamline this and what kind of process can I create? And you can first off reshare the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And then you also can just play like with the variables. The end transformation can stay the same. Just swap out the first photo. Then the first photo can all stay the same, and then swap out the end photo, because they don't need to know exactly what's now. They could know what was 2024. Like, because it's probably still 10 steps ahead of them, right? So it's like that formula literally makes it so that every single day you could put out a piece of content that shows your transformation.
It's literally life-changing and genius. You guys can go back to my page and find every single one that you're like, oh, that's what she's doing here. And it always does well, because people can find themselves in the journey no matter where they're at. So, okay. So that's kind of top of funnel, the way that you share, the way that you attract people. You have a couple different things going on, which I love though. You're also redesigning a home. But I want to talk about like how you take that and pull people into web design.
So I always try and find a commonality between everything I'm doing. So, I mean, what my people want is freedom. That is like the number one thing. When I have a masterclass of 4,000 women, I have 11,000 students in 97 countries now. So they are literally all over, and there's one word that repeats over and over and over and over again. Freedom. Freedom looks different in different formats. Time freedom, financial freedom. The number one thing people want is freedom. So I always try and bring everything to it. Even if it is something like a house renovation video, I bring it back to that I am able to do this because I created a freedom-based business. Or there could be so many different things. It could be like the same clip of me in front of my house that I'm renovating. And it's like POV, I'm able to be at my house renovation on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock because I don't have a job. Right. It's like, that's freedom. Or I'm able to do this because I built the financial ability to do this. That's freedom. So you can literally use also the same context and make it all these different little stories that still come back down to the number one thing that your ICP wants, which for mine, it's freedom. So no matter what I share, I go, how can I correlate this to freedom? And then subtly throw in, mine was web design. You can do this with web design.
Yeah.
So that then it's always top of mind for people.
Mm-hmm.
So even when they're watching a house renovation video or a video of me and my husband or a video of Goldie, it's like, it doesn't matter. It'll always come back to freedom.
How are you capturing them from? Is Instagram or TikTok or both your main forms?
I always do both.
Okay.
I'm pretty evenly split.
Okay.
Well, so I have 2 accounts on TikTok. One is truly just the house account that was an accident, that when I bought the house, I shared it on a random private account, not private, brand new account. And it got 100 million views before we even moved in.
Okay.
Yeah. So like,
you're like, this has its own account.
It has its own account. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. However, I have now started to share more of myself and my story to now try and convert these people to web design.
Yeah.
But I have 2 main business accounts on TikTok and Instagram. And this year, 2026 is the year of YouTube. I don't like to fully recommend it until I know, but I truly believe that's where the market's going, is that short form is so flooded. And that if you look at even AI, do you see the account that it's like, this is like Francesca, this is my AI I built in 30 minutes and she pays my rent. I'm seeing it everywhere. So I think short form will get diluted because of AI and just how easy and how everyone is just creating content now. Long form, AI can't. No one's going to sit there and listen to an hour-long podcast or an hour-long video.
Yet. It doesn't know how to do story.
No, and it's not personable.
It's not personable.
A long YouTube video or a long podcast is you're literally going to the movies. You're watching. And how many movies have you gone to where you're like, I'm 15 minutes in and this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because the actors aren't good. The storylines aren't good. The character building isn't good.
Yep.
AI, short form, it just doesn't have that. So I think long form YouTube is going to be where the personal brand space goes.
Okay, well, I'm going to follow you right over, right behind you. Okay, is there a moment with a student where you realize that this was so much bigger than teaching a skill? Tell me about that moment when you're like, whoa, what I'm doing is creating such massive impact in the world.
Every day. Honestly, I have a shared Slack channel with my team, #StudentWins. And every single morning, my team, they go through our academy, our club, Instagram, DMs. And if they see a positive message from a student, they will screenshot it and put it in. So then we all as a team feel the impact.
Yeah.
So every single day, it's that's my alarm clock, is I'm like, ooh, let me check the student wins chat. And every single day, it's not like, oh my God, I found web design. I love this skill. Who the fuck cares? It's not that. That's not why we're doing this. It's like, wow, before I found you 8 months ago, I was on unemployment. And I literally had no idea how I was going. I thought I was going to lose my house. And now I'm at $10,000 a month.
Wow.
This is truly life-changing.
That's crazy.
Things like that. And I'm like,
and we know what that does. We know what the $5,000, what that can do,
Right, exactly. So
takes you out of survival.
It's the true impact of what these people are experiencing in their life. And then having it be a ripple effect, because my husband and I work together, we inspire a lot of couples to go into business. So I find that a lot of my students, they're women, they'll come in, their husbands will be super skeptical. They're like, no, is this an MLM?
That was
what's
Chris.
web design, right? And then their wives end up making more money than their fucking job that they hate, right? And they're going to the construction yard and they hate their life. And they're like, wait, my wife is literally watching Real Housewives on the couch and Uggs and making 10K a month. What? So then they'll end up going in business together. So we've had a lot of husbands in the last 2 years quit their jobs and go full-time in the wives' web design businesses, which that is the coolest thing, because then think about the impact even on the children in the house. They have parents now that are both entrepreneurs that have freedom, that are home and not financially stressed, and are going to show them also how to be an entrepreneur, which I think is the most beautiful skill to teach your children. So it's just the massive level of impact, honestly.
Yeah. It's being able to have that big of a life-changing thing for a family, watching what it's done for having one parent home. Cause right now it's like, it's real out there. It's like a 2-parent at work thing.
Yeah.
And we know that that's one of the most impactful things is like having for a child is having a parent home. So being able to have 1 or 2 parents home is pretty crazy. It's crazy
really
to be
is.
able to do that. So
It's a luxury and it's a privilege. And I feel an incredible level of responsibility. I try and keep my life to being exactly what I want. I try and be as stress-free, obviously fucking lives. And I have stress from all angles, but I really, really try and just choose like what will bring me happiness.
Yeah.
But the one constant pressure that I feel is this responsibility that I have to now help normal people.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, you know, and there's so many levels of impact. And I think it's incredible to like help people go from 10K to 100K or $1 million to 5 million, 10 million, whatever. Like then yes, that's more and more massive impact. But like, I love helping the everyday person who is struggling because I was them and I relate so deeply. And I'm like, if I could help a single mom, I was raised by a single mom. Like I know the struggles. And if I could help a single mom create more financial security for them and their children, it's like, I will never not feel that pressure to show up and do it. I'll never not feel that.
And I feel like you've figured out with your team and your skill set too, like how to be able to help. It's funny, like how people end up in what they're doing because you get mass amounts of people because it is like you can help more of the everyday person.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've learned how to build structure, team, scalability to be able to do that. So that's also like a personality type to be able to like do that and get those people around you. So it's kind of like you really followed all of the things that you were good at.
Yeah. Yeah. And like what you were saying of staying in your zone of genius and hiring out, I mean, that's one of the most challenging things is team and management. Oh my gosh. But also it is the number one thing that if you can do, you will scale and you will not only not scale, but you'll also then be dropped into the seat that you want to sit in.
Yep.
And that is what I constantly strive to do. And I will not do anything for longer than 30 days in a seat that I do not want to do.
Oh boy, I need to take that one.
And it's like, it's like a KPI.
I'm about a year past that
You're like, well,
date.
you know, we're maybe pushing that now.
Okay.
I think it's important though, because then when you are good in your creative seat, like mine is content.
Yeah.
I love
great.
content.
Yeah.
That is like, if that's the seat I want to be in at 90% of the time. So when I get pulled into this other seat, especially if this seat is not valued at the time that is valued for me to create content and grow the brand and get more people in, 30 days. If sometimes you need to be in this seat to create a new SOP, you need to figure out the process. You're going to be able to go in and like create what you want. Sometimes it's good for you to do those jobs, but then as soon as it's set, bounce out.
Yeah.
Have to hire someone for it.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm literally going through. If you
like,
saw my
I
eyes go
feel
up to the
that.
left, I was going through my schedule, literally going through the meetings that I'm like, I think I need to let my team know I can't be on those meetings anymore. Okay.
So that's my thing.
Yeah.
And this is crazy. And I am a wild card. Okay. And I get it. So maybe don't just like implement everything because maybe it just works for me. Right. And maybe if you do it, you're like, well, business will crash down. But I have 0 reoccurring meetings with my team. 0. I always lead with my intuition and so that I can be creative. And what I hate is getting onto a meeting and then having my complete just like it just puts a halt on what I want to do and what I want to create. And 9 out of 10 times I get off the meeting and I'm like, fuck my team. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. This isn't working. But it's not. And when I'm pulled out, I'm like, I love my team. They're truly the best. They keep the business going. I have so much more appreciation, but it's because I don't need to be in the day-to-day or I then freak out. And so I have no reoccurring meetings. If something needs to come up, schedule me, like literally text me on the day and be like, hey, can we meet today? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I have an hour at 1. Let's do it. But I have no reoccurring meetings with my team.
Yeah, you are making me think right now. Just because if you are top of funnel, meaning if you are the person getting the eyeballs, which I am, that's like, you should be getting better at what you're doing and being in that position. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
And swapping out people who, because if there's a feeling like I have to do this or it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't get done effectively or correctly, whoever is in charge of that, if there is someone, they're not the right fit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they maybe don't have another good seat that they can go sit in. But I truly, like, this year has been a year of that where I'm like, I'm not playing fucking games anymore. I'm not going and doing another year where I don't feel like I have the team in the seats, where I feel like I have to pick up all the slack. I always, every day, have to put out little fires, QC everything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And this year I finally have people in the seats where I'm like, and it feels like such a relief.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. For anyone thinking this should feel better in my life, like this should feel better than it does, what would you tell them?
Getting the clarity, cutting out the noise first, because I don't think that you can get clarity if you have a lot of noise. You have a lot of like static in your head, a lot of voices. When something doesn't feel good, even like I'll go take a week by myself, even from my husband. And I'm like, I'll go get an Airbnb. I'll bring Goldie. Because normally she's more quiet than, of course, this 1 hour podcast.
I love it. She had stuff to say.
She's like normally so calm. I'm like, she's chaotic right now. This is like the 1 hour. She's like, I'm going to really just fuck with you guys.
She has not been bad. She has not been bad.
So my husband likes to, he's like a bold person, bold personality. He likes to yap and have his opinions be met. So sometimes when I'm like, this doesn't feel good in my life, I need to change this, I need to change that, I need clarity. Sometimes I literally don't have like the room to find the clarity that I need. So I'll literally go cut out the noise. Social media, my family, my husband. I'm like, 1 week, give me 1 week. And I'm renting a beach house by myself so that then I can get the clarity of what would feel good. What would feel good? And I sit and journal, do whatever you need to do, go walk and talk, whatever you need to do to find the clarity of what would feel good. And then it's a testing, because you might think something is going to feel good and then you do it and you don't. It's like a constant, game that you have to play. But I think cutting out the noise and finding the clarity, and then be willing to make a change, even if it's uncomfortable or even if it maybe sets you back a little bit. Because if you get set back, it's like a slingshot. Sometimes you have to come back a little bit to then get slingshot.
It's so true. You really do.
Yeah.
In life. And you have to be okay with it. And you have to know that's part of it. For
exactly.
Sure.
And I think it's a control thing. We always want to like control the outcome and control the results. So it's really easy to be like, no, I'm not going to go back, or no, I don't want to slow down. I'm not going to do that. But then 10 years will go by and you'll look back and you're like, oh, I wasn't happy the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Whole entire time.
We do not want that.
Exactly. No,
so
we don't want that.
Becca, where can we learn more about your website stuff? Which I'm also going to link that up, you guys. It's all going to be in show notes, but.
Yep. I am Becca Luna across all platforms, and beccaluna.com.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, but now you're going to live here. So you can just be podcast buddies.
You can just do it again.
I know, exactly. We'll just do it again. So, okay. Thank you so much for coming on.